Hello and welcome to ILTV's Israel Daily. I'm Aaron Porras.
And I'm Natasha Kircha. Coming up in today's newscast, Israel sends aid to the Kurds.
A Brazilian soccer club honors the victims of the Holocaust in a very special way.
And a hit Israeli TV series gets ready for the Bollywood treatment. Following the United States' withdrawal from northeastern Syria last month, Turkish armies have invaded the territory under the guise of eliminating Kurdish terrorist groups and establishing a safe zone for Syrian refugees.
But even after ending the siege, hundreds of thousands of ethnic Kurdish civilians have been displaced and hundreds more have been killed.
Well, Israel, which has long been an ally to the Kurds, may not be able to physically defend these people from harm, but according to senior Israeli officials, Israel has been providing aid to the Kurds of northern Syria ever since the United States pulled out.
אבל לישראל יש אכן אינטרס מובהק לשמור על כוחם של הכורדים והמיעוטים הנוספים באזור צפון סוריה כגורמים מתונים ופרו-מערביים שהוכיחו את נכסיותם פעמים רבות לאורך השנים, במיוחד בזמן הלחימה נגד דאעש.
Deputy Foreign Minister Tzipi Hotovely revealed Wednesday that Israel has received many Kurdish requests for assistance, mainly diplomatic and humanitarian, and that Israel is responding to the call through a range of channels. But this is the first such confirmation that Israel is actually committing to Prime Minister Netanyahu's October promises to support the Kurds in Syria.
And despite not giving any details regarding how Israel is supporting the Kurds in particular, Hotovely explains that helping the Kurds is a win-win for Israel and the region, especially since they've been instrumental both against the Islamic State and Iran.
ההתמוטטות האפשרית של האחיזה הכורדית בצפון סוריה אינה תרחיש שלילי ומסוכן מבחינת ישראל. ברור לחלוטין שאירוע כזה יביא להתחזקות גורמים שליליים באזור בראשות איראן.
But most importantly, Hotovely says that really this is a moral stand that Israel is proud to take.
There are just a few weeks left before the UN Relief and Works Agency, or UNRWA, has to renew its mandate or face possible dissolution.
But as tensions ramp up ahead of the deadline, the controversial Palestinian aid organization is now facing a whole new set of problems. Israel has long been petitioning the international community to install stricter oversight over UNRWA, the international UN agency specifically designed to care for the welfare of Palestinian refugees. But after years of mismanagement and allegations of incitement to terrorism, among other major issues, Israel is now pushing for UNRWA's complete shutdown, with Israeli Foreign Minister Israel Katz saying that the renewal of UNRWA's mandate would be unreasonable and immoral. In fact, he again explains that the agency is part of the problem and not the solution by perpetuating the refugee issue in a political manner while distancing any possibility for future resolution. And it's true that under UNRWA's special definitions, the number of Palestinian refugees alone has exploded from 750,000 in 1948 to over 5.5 million today, whereas all other refugee populations on Earth decline over time under the UNHCR. Well, now, to make matters worse, just a few weeks ahead of the deadline to renew its mandate, UNRWA's Commissioner General, Pierre Cranbuol, is resigning. The news comes amid investigations into allegations of misconduct and adds fuel to the Close UNRWA fire, with Israeli UN Ambassador Dani Danon saying that this compounds the reasons that UNRWA should be shut down and alternative models for refugees are considered. For now, though, the details of the probe against Cranbuol remain mum, and he'll be replaced for the time being by acting officer in charge to UNRWA, Christian Saunders. Moving on, the UK is gearing up for another round of elections this December, and the incumbent Prime Minister Boris Johnson is highly expected to win over the Labour Party's Jeremy Corbyn.
But it is a tight race, and the Jews of England are especially on edge ahead of the results, as a new poll shows that over half of the UK's Jewry is ready to leave if Corbyn wins. Well, joining us to discuss this is David Menser, a UK-Israel political communications specialist and the former director of the Labour Friends of Israel. So my first question for you is, if a massive immigration is actually, a possibility?
Look, I don't think we should be too dramatic about this. Let's not compare this to France, where the threat was more physical in France. And that's, when a school is attacked in France, then there leaves very little room for maneuver for Jewish families. They literally have to leave for their own safety. This is a more subtle threat, but it is still a threat nonetheless. I don't think that British Jewish people are keeping their suitcases by the door, but I do think that they're acutely aware this is a subject which is discussed at almost every Friday night table across the Jewish community in the UK. Jewish people are particularly worried in the UK. What will happen if, for the first time in their history, an active anti-Semite, someone that lays wreaths at terrorists' graves, someone that is friends with Holocaust deniers, actually walks through the door of number 10 Downing Street? That is a real concern for British Jews, absolutely right.
Well, and we've now learned very recently Tom Watson, the Labour Party's number 2, has just resigned. And he says that it was more personal than political, but of course we can't let go of the idea that it does have something to do with all the allegations of anti-Semitism, because he was very outspoken within the Labour Party. So what do you make of that?
Look, I'm a political specialist, and when any politician says that they're resigning to spend more time with their family, you can be pretty sure that that's not the reason why they've actually resigned. Look, in the Labour Party, the revolution has happened. The far-left Marxist wing of the Labour Party has taken over almost every single section of the Labour Party, all of its levers and positions of power. And Tom Watson is just realising, maybe coming very, very late to the party, that finally, you know what, he was touted as a future leader, someone that would lead the party away from this Marxist, far-left, anti-Semitic slant that it's taken over the last 4 or 5 years. He's probably realised now that this is never, ever going to happen. He has lost that battle. And if you're still a moderate, I use that with inverted commas, if you're still a moderate in the Labour Party, then it's a very, very lonely place to be, because the revolution has happened. It's a far-left, communist, Marxist sympathising party.
So who is the biggest support base for the Labour Party today, then, in the UK?
Well, one of the surprises in this whole subject is Jeremy Corbyn himself has actually turned out to be a remarkable campaigner. And what he announced today, what John McDonnell announced today, the Shadow Chancellor, was a huge package of public spending, particularly appealing to young people, more money for students, more money for council houses, more money for benefits for people out of work. So that, I think, is the major driver for people that are disaffected in the UK, who are living in lower income brackets. And that's why they do see some appeal in Jeremy Corbyn and his far-left coterie of supporters, because they do actually appeal to the lower socio-economic groups in the UK with much more spending, and that is the major appeal of the Labour Party right now.
Well, I'd like to talk a little bit more about anti-Semitism in Europe as a whole, because we're seeing these statistics coming out. In Sweden alone, what was it, 53? There was a 53% rise in anti-Semitic incidents. And, the UK itself has also been seeing a rise in anti-Semitism. Can you talk to us a little bit about why that is the case, where it's coming from, and, what the Jewish response has been?
Look, the figures for 2018, which are the police figures, were 1,652 anti-Semitic incidents. Now, that is made up of anti-Semitic literature, abusive behaviour, threats, also denigration of Jewish sites, of grave sites and burial grounds, and real assaults as well. Now, those are the police figures. Now, I would probably point you to the CST figures, the Community Security Trust, the Jewish organization which compiles anti-Semitic figures. They point to 892 figures in January to June alone this year. Now, what is the reason for that? Now, firstly, it is, of course, social media. We know this across the board now, that social media has become, unfortunately, a sewer for those people that feel that they can spew out this anti-Semitic bile and feel protected behind their computer screens or their screens. But more than that, look, if you have a leader of a political party, that's actually, that is someone who is in the running to be Prime Minister, who is quite likely, actually, he's in the game now, he could be the next Prime Minister, if he himself is bold enough to keep poking his finger into the Jewish community's eye consistently, without regret, don't forget this. The politicians are communication specialists.
Right.
They're not people that do
can
these
impact
by mistake.
the people, certainly.
So people who have these nasty views, unfortunately, feel a sense of it is comfortable. I can make these public pronouncements. I can say these terrible things. I can assault Jews now because, hey, we've got a leader of the Labour Party who says that's all right, who doesn't really make a consistent stand against anti-Semitism.
Well, I mean, we're obviously going to have to wait and see what happens here, but thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Good to be here.
All right, now sometimes all it takes is a small gesture by a big person to make an impact.
In this case, it's actually a whole bunch of big people. The famous Corinthians Football Club of Brazil is making a bold statement in honor of the Holocaust. Kristallnacht 1938. November 9th and 10th was a devastating evening in Europe, and just hearing the word still causes a tremor for Jews around the world. And that's why the famous Brazilian soccer team called the Corinthians Football Club of São Paulo have announced using a compelling video that the team will wear a yellow Star of David on their shirts in order to show solidarity with Jews who were persecuted during World War II 81 years ago. The stars are meant to mimic the ones Jews were forced to wear by Nazis in order to differentiate themselves from the non-Jewish Europeans. Experts from the Latin American Wiesenthal Center say they celebrate the Corinthians initiative and hope that other sports teams will follow suit, reminding people that in 1938 signs warned people against buying from Jews in Europe, which is no different from BDS voices who advocate to steer clear from purchasing Israeli products.
All right, now her face is everywhere, shaming the city.
And we're talking, of course, about Greta Thunberg, because a 16-year-old climate change activist who sailed, instead of flew from Sweden to the U.S. to save on carbon emissions, is now being pictured in lots of kitchens throughout Tel Aviv.
Exactly. The signs next to her face say, "How dare you?" a nod to her speech made at the UN, calling on people to protect the environment. And the idea is to discourage office workers from being wasteful by using single-use plastic cutlery.
Now, we can thank Haaretz reporter Alison Kaplan-Sommer for noticing the trend. There are photos from the AP in Jerusalem, the Wix headquarters, I-24 News in Jaffa, and a high-tech company in Ramat HaChayal, just north of Tel Aviv.
Well, do we have our own photo in the cafeteria?
I don't think that we do, but this morning I did come in and I saw that all the plastic was removed and replaced with real silverware and dishes, so go ILTV for going green.
All right, now the Israeli army is often in the headlines, but this time it's for a reason that you might not expect.
That's right. The IDF is now being called the most vegan army in the world. 1 in every 18 soldiers is a vegan, according to a new Army radio report. And that means that there are currently 10,000 vegans in service.
And that number is rapidly growing, too. The number of IDF vegans has increased 20-fold in just the past 3 years alone. Even Deputy Chief of Staff Major General Kochavi is a vegan. But this is hardly surprising because, in general, veganism in Israel has been steadily on the rise. Upwards of 5% of Israelis identify as vegan today, and Tel Aviv has long had the most vegans per capita on Earth.
So to accommodate this diet and lifestyle, the IDF seems to be leaning in by training cooks on base to prepare vegan meals, including soy-based drinks, desserts, meat substitutes, tofu, and more. And the IDF is also issuing leather-free combat boots, wool-free berets, and vegan rations for soldiers in combat units.
Yeah, the only issue is that according to a recently filed complaint, the vegan army menu lacks enough protein.
Well, the IDF is already addressing this issue as well. The spokesperson's unit says that they're determined to provide suitable responses to the entire army population, including, of course, the vegans. So, I mean, I think this is some pretty cool news.
All right, now, I'm sure you're all familiar with the many food tech innovations that we discuss right here on ILTV.
Yeah, but trust us, nothing has prepared you for this next advancement. ILTV's Nittany Manson has the scoop.
Are you tired of boring old cow's milk? Do dairy products make you bloated and gassy? Have you tried to go lactose-free, but soy milk just won't cut it?
Yuck!
Well, you're in luck. From the minds who brought you the USB stick and micro-robotic systems that aid in surgery, comes the next big breakthrough in edible technology.
Hummus milk!
Now, I know what you're thinking.
Hummus milk!
Seriously? Well, Israeli food tech startup InnovaPro has introduced this new dairy alternative, and it turns out it could actually be the milkless product you've been looking for. With the vegan milk industry booming and researchers expecting the market to reach a whopping $138 billion by 2024, hummus milk could be the next big trend. A great source of protein, hummus milk also boasts high fiber, and it's a good way to rely less on animal products that can negatively impact the environment. Hummus milk is also a cheaper alternative to almond and soy products, so we can expect it to be a bit nicer on our wallets. Plus, the way people love eating hummus, why not just drink it too? And for anyone with allergies or food sensitivities, the chickpea has no history of being an allergen, so it's safe for everyone.
Hummus milk.
Straight from the land of milk and honey. Hummus milk, the milk of the future.
Hummus mit dem Dem, mit dem Dem, mit dem Dem. Hummus mit dem Dem, mit dem Dem, mit dem Dem. Hummus mit dem Dem, mit dem Dem, mit dem Dem. Hummus mit dem Dem, mit dem Dem, mit dem Dem.
That's yum. Really appetizing, huh?
No,
I can't
absolutely
wait.
not. Aaron, just go into the next.
Moving on, Israelis, like most of humanity, are both sensuous and love to dance, and nothing puts those two things together better than Latin dance like the salsa.
That's an interesting choice of words, but thankfully, Israel's Latin dance professionals have an outlet at the annual Israeli Latin Dance Cup. And ILTV producer and resident Dancy Pants, Asaf Nissan, who just competed in the competition on Wednesday night, is actually here with more. Hello.
Hi guys.
All right,
good to
so
have you.
tell us a little bit about this performance that you just had last night.
Okay, so first of all, my performance itself, I've been working on it for the past year. I've been working with them together for the past 3.5 years, pretty much.
And who knew? I mean, it's obviously a little bit surprising for probably a lot of our viewers that there's a Latin dance competition in Israel.
Yeah.
How did this start?
Actually, the scene itself has been existent for more than 20 years. It's been all over this country with different clubs in Tel Aviv, in Jerusalem, in Haifa, all over the country. 5 years ago, pretty much was the fifth anniversary of the competition. The producer and creator of ILDC, Avi Nino, decided to finally centralize everything into one central concept. And together with the World Latin Dance Cup, which Israel participates every year, is unbelievable.
Wait, so there are people from all over the world, just to be clear?
People who come here people who judge us here, they're from all over the world. They're professional
All right,
judges.
so how strong is Israel in Latin dance?
Actually, really strong.
He's like, if I say
you
so
said it
myself,
right.
I just danced
So
last
a little bit
night.
of pride right there.
Well, honestly, we are. We should be proud.
Well, we have
absolutely.
a lot of Latin American immigrants here as well, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean,
that
we have
probably
over 180,000 people here in the Latin American
Are
community.
they contributing to this kind of dance craze?
The amazing thing is, the Israelis actually took more of the reins on the entire issue.
Really?
Yes.
Well, is that perhaps because of how much people travel to South America here?
Also, I mean, I think the fact that both countries are both type of people are really close to each other in temperament, in the fun
That's
things
fair.
in life.
Also, Israelis love their telenovelas, and
That is
after
true.
the army, they travel often to Latin America.
And most of them actually do start from there, salsa.
Really? Okay,
Yes.
so it's people who actually learn abroad and then bring that back here.
Actually, not necessarily. A lot of them do go and start there, but most of the experts either train with people from before in Europe, in the US, here in Israel. I
so,
mean, it's
Asaf,
been,
how did you get into Latin dancing?
well, my story's a little different.
Okay.
Actually, it started when, during my college years, a good friend of mine took me to one of the salsa places in Jerusalem, actually. And me, as always being a Latin music lover, I actually really enjoyed it and started going. And after 6 months, I actually met my coaches who later on trained me and became my coaches and partners in the competition.
Oh, wow, that's incredible.
Well, I mean, look at you. Look at
I know.
Look at him.
You go.
Guys, we need a full frame of that. Look
He's
at that.
amazing.
Asaf, honestly,
love your outfit.
it's just the coolest thing ever that this
Right?
is what you do when you're done working at ILTV.
Asaf, yeah.
And I
man.
think that, Aaron, we now know what you are going to start
I'm
working
just,
on next. Your next
I'm just
talent.
very proud, man. I'm staying away from the dance floor. Asaf,
if
you did great.
No one can stop you, man, if you want. I mean, if you want, I can
Next-
help, I can teach.
You already
Next
have a
time,
dance
I'm in.
partner?
I'm in.
All right.
Thank you so much, Asaf.
All right, now moving on, Aaron.
Yes. Now, Natasha, you say that you had one of the strangest experiences
Yes.
recently ever.
I did. I actually went to a restaurant that, let's just say, is more of an experience than a meal. Take a look. Would you be willing to order a meal without actually having any idea what you're going to get? Well, this is Mystery Box, and it may be the weirdest restaurant to have ever opened up in Israel. I'm about to enter a black box.
And apparently I'm gonna come out with lunch.
Hello? Is there anybody there? Who are you?
I am the professor. Welcome to the mystery box.
Is there a menu here?
There is no menu. You have to roll the cube before you start. What you got? Is a question sign or not?
No, I didn't get a question sign. Why? What would happen if I got a question sign?
If it was a question sign, you are a lucky girl, so the meal is on us. The next step that you have to choose one of the boxes.
I think I'm gonna go for number 3. That's my favorite number. Okay, what did I get? This is exciting, it's a surprise.
It's a brown cube, so you will get the meat meal.
Okay. I
Our
can live with
meat
that.
meal for today, it's special with asado.
It's asado?
Yeah.
Ooh, he knows I'm Argentinian. You put your money here, in this box.
Do you want to dance a little bit?
What did you ask me?
If you want to dance.
Where's the music? Are we humans? Or are we dancers? My food is finally ready. And look at this dish I have here. Wow. This looks good. I am excited. So, who's behind this insane idea? His name is the Professor, the household name in Tel Aviv for having come up with the idea to serve the infamous mystery burger. Locals know that if you text a special number, you'll have a special burger delivered to your home, and you won't know what's in it, but that's all part of the fun. Now the question is the food really worth all the fuss? Oh, this is gonna be messy. And I just discovered some black gloves on the side. You have to see what the sauces are. Well, that's spicy. I would give this a thumbs up. I can't really tell you how the other meals taste, but you know, I guess I'm gonna have to come back because I love surprises.
Gosh, that thing looks huge. That was a big burger.
No, it was a very, very big meal.
Was it good?
It was very good. I mean, and you really didn't know what to expect because sometimes you feel like when they have these weird experience-based restaurants, the food
it's all a
isn't-
mystery. You don't know.
Yeah, well, you just never expect the food to actually be as fun as what you're going through. But I was surprised it was actually very good. Obviously, I didn't try everything, so we can go back because it's actually right near the studios. All right, moving on now. India is known around the world for having tons of original films and TV shows in Bollywood, but never as a country adapted an Israeli script for their audience.
That is not until now. And here to give us all the details is ILTV's Shanna Fold.
Yes,
Hi.
hello.
So this was so fun for me when I learned about this. I felt so proud. Fauda is being translated, well, not translated, the concept is going to be taken to India, and it's called Applause Entertainment. They're out of Mumbai.
Okay.
They're working with Yes, which is the Israeli broadcasting agency that does Fauda, and they're coming together. But the cool thing is that they're swapping out the Palestinian-Israeli conflict for the Indian-Pakistani conflict.
Wow, that's very interesting.
They're
That's
making it closer to home.
They're bringing it closer to home, and they are using a conflict that their people would relate to, but I guess they're using the same concept.
what is, I mean, has anybody from the original Fauda cast commented on this? Because this is kind of insane.
Yeah, so actually, Lior Raz, he's a co-writer of the show and also the lead actor.
Yeah.
He commented on it. He said he's sure that it's going to come out great, but he really wants to know who's going to play Doron, which is
The character he plays?
which is his character and the
boy.
lead character of the show. So it's kind of I can't wait to report on who's going to take over that role in the future.
I hope if it's really different, he doesn't take it personal or anything. I mean,
Yeah,
it's all.
yeah, well-
it's so flattering. I think just in general to adapt the show.
Absolutely. And I mean, is this the first time that India has adapted an Israeli show, or you don't know?
From what I know, I don't know of any other top shows that have been adapted. I mean, Fauda is really
American
a show.
shows, maybe?
American shows, there is The Office, Criminal Justice, and Hostages.
Okay, so
which have
alright,
been
so-
adapted.
All right, well,
yeah.
you know what? So this is a big deal for this. This might be a first.
Yeah.
We're not exactly sure, but still.
It's amazing.
I cannot wait to watch
Yeah.
this because it will probably give us some good insight into the conflict between India and Pakistan, you know? So, all right, thank you for joining us, Shanna. All right, let's take a look at the weather forecast. Tonight should be clear and cool with average lows between 65 and 69 or 18 to 20 degrees Celsius. Only Jerusalem will dip down tonight to 58 or 14 degrees Celsius. And then over the weekend, we should have more sunny skies and average highs around 85 Fahrenheit or 29 degrees Celsius. But as usual, only Eilat will be hotter, reaching 91 degrees Fahrenheit or 33 Celsius on Saturday.
And all right, that's it for today's news. Today's exchange rate is 3.49 shekels to the American dollar. For more news from ILTV, please like ILTV on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. I'm Aaron Porras.
And I'm Natasha Kirchek. Thanks so much for watching.